Bonjour, bonjour, c'est Aegon. Bienvenue dans ce nouveau live. Disco et les hommes. Voilà, on devait reparler de la fameuse danseuse. Par contre, il faudrait que... Ouais. Ces nouveaux-là, il faudrait que j'achète des trucs, là.
It's always good to see you.
Something in her demeanor has changed. She's tired,
Volonté.
consigned
Oh.
to her fate, to being here with you and what's to come.
Non.
Yeah? You tell me, officer, when you've kicked it down. I've been wondering myself, but I'm light of foot. All right. I understand. I knew there was a chance you'd get them to tell you. It's what you do. You're the police. For what it's worth, I'm sorry for wasting your time.
This is good. Clear the air first, between you two, then move on to questions. Is it? Something is off here. Shush, I can't hear what she's saying. Let the miss speak. She's tall and thin and tired. A twig trying so hard not...
If you knew we would find out eventually, why did you waste our time?
Because of the Hardys. I couldn't just dispense with them. They were only trying to help me. Out of the shit I'd gotten into.
Is she implying the Hardy Boys are the law?
Voilà, brusquer. La bande de Hardy qui fait la loi.
I am not. There is more here, miss.
You're right. There's more. You answer to the coalition government, and by extension, the moral intern.
Briefly glancing over her shoulder to the sea, as she's done time and time again. A grand expanse of water reaches over the bay and to the horizon. Grey and pale violet. The pale, the Mwindi Isola, the Occident, and then Oranje, the old, old world.
You share a database with them. You send people to their courts. Just business. But bad business for some people in the moral intern. If I show up in your records, officer,
What happens if they do?
they will kill me, sir. If you file my name, take me in for questioning, enter me into the moral intern mill, well, then I'm fucked. For nothing. This murder didn't have anything to do with me. It's not nice, but it's not illegal. Not here in Ravishal.
What exactly did you do?
Industrial espionage. I joined a business collective with the intention of betraying them. With a bigger company. The kind you really, really don't fuck with. I took their
I need the names of the companies involved and who hired you.
The job was Lewsdown County Savings Bank. They sound small, but they're part of the Lewis Scott conglomerate. That was the second job. The first was some printer company. You wouldn't know. As to who hired me for the job, I don't know. But they're after me too. Along with Lou Scott and their friends in the MI. Once you're done in the competitive intelligence circuit, you don't...
En complet, langue française. Double. Logique classique. Logique, on va... Voir ce que ça donne.
It is. Many people lost their jobs. Not just C-suite. Ordinary people. What I did to get to accounting, a lot of people got hurt. But that's just more of my shit you shouldn't have to deal with. You're solving a murder. Because I'm an idiot.
D'accord, là, psychologique, en fait, t'as même pas le doublage audio, d'accord. Et nommé classique. Là, classique, t'as rien du tout. Ok. Classique, t'as même pas de doublage. Langue. AOL pour passer d'une langue à une claire. AL.
He kept throwing stones at him for 3 days. I could hear the thud. Thud. So I called you. I hope with all my heart it's not the last thing I do in Ravachol.
She definitely called the cops. That was task complete. It could not have been a lie. That is impossible.
We were there. Together. In bed, I mean. Okay. He was in a kneeling position. He had just entered me. I was on my back, looking at him. I heard the window behind me shatter, and I turned to look. I turned back to him. His eyes were looking through me, and his mouth was open. Dumb. I could see.
Her chest rises and falls with each word. She keeps herself together and says it.
I knew he was dead. Before he fell down on top of me. He was heavy. I pushed him off and he fell to the floor. There. He only had his boots on. I bit the pillow, not to scream, then ran downstairs. I waited for the second shot to come. For me. I thought there would be one.
She's forgotten about her cigarette. The butt has burned right down to her.
Oh. So am I.
What time was this? When did it happen? It would help us if you could be as precise as possible.
11:30 to 12:15. I don't know the exact time. Around midnight.
It's okay. Were you inebriated?
Not as much as usual. He'd done a line, plus other things. I was drinking.
Wait. Titus said she was gurning her jaw off. Much more than usual.
Oh, yeah. I did one of his lines, just to clear my head.
Good thinking. Clear your head. You should clear your head.
Did you hear or see the shooter in the course of this?
No. Nothing. I was trapped. I was stuck in my room downstairs. I got some clothes on and crawled back up, drew the blinds. He was still on the floor, slouched. I couldn't be there with him anymore, so I ran down and out of my room, into the hallway, down the stairs. I knew there would be people there. That's the first thing that went through my head when I heard the glass break. I thought they'd found me. They've killed him to punish me. All last week, I've tried not to talk to anyone or be so they wouldn't be hurt. I've come to understand, however, this is paranoia. What happened didn't have anything to do with me.
We can't go after loose cap. Not yet. There are other, saner leads.
I don't ask you to, Lieutenant. If there's one thing I know, it's that you'll get nothing from there. Sylvie was tending the bar. A lot of people were there. The Hardys were at the table in front of the stage. I think Ruby was there too. They were having such a good time. I sat down and they all welcomed me. I didn't even have to say anything. Ruby? Ruby. You know, the leader.
The leader? Of what?
The Hardy Boys. Well, nominally, yes. Ruby's the one they go to when things happen, like things they need taken care of.
This Ruby, in her phrasing, is entrusted with great power. She trusts her.
Well, Ruby said let's talk upstairs. I showed her the room. I've known these people since December. They know my situation, that I can't leave a paper trail. She said she'd take care of this. It's what she does, you know, take care of things. I helped her get the body to the bathroom. We used a belt to pull him up under the shower.
To produce lividity, matching a hanging?
Yes.
We completely missed the tampering. Looks like you got there in time. What was this, 20 minutes after death?
About 20, yes. Ruby explained it would make the blood. Ruby went outside to talk to Titus and the boys. I was just looking at Lely in the bathroom. I had to put his clothes back on. His armor, too. It was tough, but I've seen him take it off and put it on many times. It took Ruby maybe half an hour to come back with Titus. I'd gotten him ready by then. They carried him out. I knew what they were going to do. Ruby said to wait here. She also said I wouldn't see her for a while. That we should lay low. I don't know. I haven't seen her since.
We will need to take this question to the Hardy Boys.
Go.
Last week, Angus and Titus's brother, I think he's called Tibbs, took care of it.
You should have another look at that window after this. Reconstruct the scene. It's right there. Yes, you see the glass sparkling out of the corner of your eye.
Last week.
You should have another look at that. Still, you see the glass sparkling out of the corner of your eye.
Quelle question à poser là?
When he was shot? I may have. I don't know. I couldn't hear anything over the glass exploding.
Ah oui, voilà.
She nods, silently. She doesn't even smoke. Just picks up the cold coffee and holds. He's thinking, are we done here?
28, 3, c'est même pas la peine. Là, il me manque quoi? De la volonté. Pas dramatique.
Let's see. I wrote down the nickname Lelystad. We have questions that might help solve some gaps in our field autopsy. I'm sure my colleague has a few of his own while I take notes.
The young woman cranes her neck, trying to catch a glimpse of the page the lieutenant passed to you. On it is a list of autopsy observations recorded neatly in blue ink.
Oh, that. It was a map of his life and the places he visited as a soldier. It was mostly for showing off to chicks, though. How? Imagine him lying in bed. Freakish musculature laid out on the sheets.
Is this Oranese lit?
Yes. This is the very essence of Oranese lit. A moment's respite. Dark and hopeless as the struggle itself. He's smoking and drinking, of course. and his chest and shoulders and arms are studded with stars. And the woman goes like, "What was this, baby?" And he says, "That was too hardcore. Don't ask me about that." So she goes, "Okay." And so it goes. Star after star. Oh, yeah. No, thank you. I've seen enough of him dead. I can tell you what they meant without looking at them.
Go on.
He was a blue-eyed boy with thick arms, from a small town. He was also poor, and the government of Oranje needed some people killed. He went to Killer Academy in Vredefort. Then he killed some people in the Semenine Islands. And on other islands, too. All of the islands. After this, he came to Revachol and got killed himself. Change of topic, perhaps? In Oranje, officer. It's,
Oranje? Oranje's map of water.
You were almost right, officer. That means his race was occidental, not mondial. I'll update the form.
Yes. We were compatriots.
Did that bring you together?
No. He was too old for that. And from another part of Oranje. I didn't even understand his accent.
Sex. Alcohol. No love for Mother Oranje. But wasn't he a soldier? This could be worth pursuing.
No. He left the National Service after they taught him to do what he did on Semenine. He wasn't the flag-waving kind. He was by no means a stupid man. A people person. A small platoon leader. Certainly not a patriot. There is nothing on Muindi. The old, old world is dead, and we both knew it. I love Revachol, though. I hope she loves me, too. He was 42.
42? Are you sure? I would have had him above.
He had many scars that made him appear older. But no, we even celebrated his birthday, like, some weeks ago. It was a funny 2 days.
Looks like you were right, officer.
Points aren't good. Have one, you old dog, before we all die. The young woman looks at you, then the lieutenant, then you.
Yes. Light, pardon this.
He had a combat wound on his chin and mouth?
Yes. Severe.
Ah, yes. His hair, if you can remember.
It was light brown, almost blonde. He darkened it with brilliantine, made it oily. Not nice to stroke. I couldn't convince him to leave it alone.
All right.
Coolly, gracefully, she pours herself more
Ah,
coffee.
toujours pareil.
Wait, stop. That man, bloated beyond all recognition, was 42? Below the damage, the weeks of decomposition. How old are you? That's where this is going. 45,000 liters. You could ask either one of them.
Huh. How old do I think you are?
She's buying time to formulate the best answer.
I don't know. 40? I was like 9 when OO peaked. That was what, 19 years ago? I liked them when I was 9. Let's say you were 20-something. 25. A good disco age. 25 plus 19 is 44. Yeah. I have a university degree, you know? Absolutely. Age is just a number, man.
Yes, miss, but for him that number is 56.
Wait. This requires scientific measurement to the laboratorium.
Générateur de date. LOL. Générateur, tout ça, vous parle. Ouais, ça va. Pas de truc. Là, attends, on devait regarder la vitre, non?
This window is pristine on the inside. Unlike the one, golden light melts away into the blue, glassy darkness of your mind. In it, like the witness said, the man is kneeling, the woman is on her back. It's the night the man looks directly at the woman. The shot's possible directions converge in his mouth, a ray cast from somewhere outside, entering his brain. Ending him. From the roof outside, location A prime. The glass fractures around the bullet hole. Shards face inwards like a corona behind the woman's back. The man does not know the bullet has entered his brain. He never will. The ray cast from the man's mouth unravels into a fan of possible directions, all on the roof at first. The shot could have come from any of them. This is composite location A prime, most likely of the origin points. 72%, with a weapon that's good for medium range, like a rifle or sports pistol. This is a good short distance, but not too short. The perpetrator aimed with their back against the railing,
Donc il était sur la
or
terrasse.
possibly kneeling for precision. This would explain why it only took them one shot.
Comment il est monté sur le toit? Peut-être par la porte là?
The lights were on in here. Outside it was dark. It was like shooting fish in an aquarium, a well-lit aquarium. The victim opened his mouth to let the bullet in. None that you've found thus far, but that doesn't mean there aren't any. That's a 28%, yes. In this model, the shot could have come from a greater distance. Nothing excludes the possibility. Should we extrapolate to include every possible point of origin in Martinez? According to your map of the district, this shot could have come from a wide angle of locations, starting with the northern edge of the abandoned boardwalk, ending with an islet in the bay. B prime for boardwalk, B double prime for Land's End, and B triple prime for the islet detective. There may be smaller points 700 meters away. The likeliest of these B positions, 20% chance. A skilled sniper could have made the shot, provided he had a safe sniper's nest. Even with the light on inside, we're talking military training. At that distance, the perpetrator would have had to 1.2 kilometers away. The least likely of these positions, let's say 3%. 1 kilometer away, an unlikely point of origin. Beyond the docks somewhere, on an islet in the Bay of Martinez perhaps. The shot would have been a small miracle, 5% likelihood. There is an extremely narrow field of view from the bay to the window, between Rue de Saint-Ghislain.
From where, precisely? I see you have given this a lot of thought. Are those the locations you've singled out in addition to the roof? And what is the likelihood, in your opinion, that it came from a further distance? Okay, well, we should see if there is gunshot residue or sniper nests if we go down the coast. Rule these spots out one by one. It would be the diligent thing to do. Until then, personally, I'm going with the roof version. A simple hypothesis can be wrong, but it's something to build on.
Ok, donc une double promenade, île. Ok. J'ai pas gagné de points de... Toujours la tête d'un déterré. Il faut peut-être parler attitude d'abord pendant qu'on est à côté.
It's you again. What is it? Why?
On dit de parler à Ruby.
Sounds like you wanna push this steaming pile of shit. Ruby's one of us. We're not gonna throw her under your moral interns.
And fuck you too, moral
Ruby is missing. If you hide from the police in a murder investigation, you become a suspect. You know how it...
That's nothing. That's just legalese. You don't even have a sound theory.
I think we'll keep sticking around, Titus. You'll be surprised at how quickly a theory presents itself if you keep looking.
From the corner of your eye, you see a little bird fly into the bush, right behind the window.
Attends.
It's you again. What is it?
Ah, que 3%. Ah oui, je peux plus poser la question. C'est même pas la peine. C'est pas assez de logique en fait. Eh, bravo. Ah oui, tiens. Ça aussi, en faire en sorte.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Sir, officer. What? Got it. I'll contact the ICP database immediately. Call back tomorrow. Hopefully they'll have dug up something. The International Collaboration Police? They keep detailed records of all military technology produced by licensed manufacturers. That's one of... No. And I doubt they'll get back to me before tomorrow morning. Anything else? 57th, over and out.
In the cabin, you see a set of steering levers, a radio on a...
That's one brutal motorcade.
If I were a real skull now, I'd jack it, paint it in palm tree livery, then bottom light it, neon style.
A snazzy shit-ripped skullmobile like this would make a fine trophy. We could, like, hang fucking shrunken heads from the...
Yeah, tribal shit.
While I appreciate the interest you take in my brutal motor carriage, I have to stop you right there.
It's just theoretical work, Copper. No basis in reality.
Was it a good idea on the lieutenant's part to get into this? Don't even answer that. Just leave. You can always...
I can tell you who we're not, cop.
Which is not to say that the skulls are bitches and... On the con...
The part of this presentation you want to take home with you, cop man.
Okay then, let's indulge in some intellectual exchange. These skull people are more than an authority. They're deities.
What about them? Well, first off, it's a statement and not necessarily something that characterizes me as a person. The word piss epitomizes the struggle taking place in the world. Things being defined as they seem, not as they are. And also, you've got to admit, it catches the eye. And since the Grand Piper is slowly but steadily moving towards basing the economy on it, what I mean by this is, we are all piss and that the world is inherently meaningless. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Cindy's a right proper skull.
Yeah, a true artist of the future. Just like Arno van Eyck.
By the way, if you see Cindy, give her our regards.
For all their nihilistic posturing, these young men are not lacking in youth. The lieutenant on your left is unusually lenient toward them.
The Union does their share of policing in Martinez, at least where gangs are concerned.
Apart from the unions themselves, of course.
Don't you worry about that. We're gonna make up for...
Yeah, we are. We're not franchise skulls. Well, not yet. Once we get our name out there, we'll have a chance to... Because we can be just as psycho and vicious. You'll see.
Ah, you'll see for sure once we're in. It's the last thing...
Throw him off his game. You don't feel very scared.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're only saying practice things for now, so...
This is definitely something the Skulls would say. But we're not trying to encroach on the Skulls branding anyway. On the contrary, we're just here to market it. We think of it more like two franchises merging. You know, us two and the Skulls. I spice things up here in Martinez, you know. Get the old machine of pain and suffering oiled up.
What would these guys have to offer any organization?
Whatever, man. Work is for pussies. You wouldn't get it anyway. Hey, we could be just as hard. Like pavement on top of pavement.
Or a grave on top of a grave.
These kids have the vocabulary, but might be missing a brain.
Mm-hmm.
Murder? Yeah, sure. We'll gladly tell you everything we know about...
Also, he was hanged. He was hanged from a tree.
Yeah, I mean, duh.
These punks don't know anything. Let's just...
Hey, stop right there. How does one know anything?
Sure. Understandable.
Ok, donc ça c'est fait. Donc. La côte, ah oui, c'est vrai. Promenade, c'est par là. Attends, la promenade. Pour moi, la promenade, c'est là, non? que ça pourrait être?
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural? I don't believe it. I've never known those boys to have manners. They'll never be skulls, but their hearts are in the right place. Fat chance. But you can still do your part to revitalize the neighborhood.
She throws you a conspiratorial glance, then presses her finger.
Have you noticed the quiet? Every so often, you might hear a gunshot pierce the air somewhere in Jamrock. But in this place is a sepulchre. We'll paint it red. We bring the raucous. You bring the sirens. Ooh, not only have you found my address, you've discovered my biggest secret. I'm a coal miner.
She does have eyes that seem to be smeared with coal.
It doesn't have to do anything at all. Nothing does. Like me. Right now, I'm doing nothing at all. Yes, I keep hoping a shaft will collapse on me. But somehow, does anyone in a city like this? Shoot, Piggy.
Ok. Parti. La promenade, la promenade. Promenade pour moi c'est là. Hein. Là je suis. Ça pourrait être la promenade parce que je vois rien de rien qui m'indique en jaune ou pour observer. J'arrive pas à voir où c'est la fameuse promenade là. Là, le truc, il est là. La promenade, l'île. L'île, ça serait quoi ça là-haut là? Je vois pas où aller regarder. Hein. Parce que le truc est là-haut. Logiquement, on peut tirer la promenade d'ici. Ça m'étonnerait. Bah, c'est où? pour être là. Ah, regarde de l'autre côté. Allez, plus vite, bordel.
You see, a once bright mural, a slogan used to intertwine with the loops a long time ago. Now,
Looks like tomorrow never came.
Tiens.
the remaining windows rattle from a strong gust of wind. They're covered in a thick layer of grime.
No, I won't even try. You know, I had a partner once. They called him Eyes, because he had to show me things. It's that bad. Well enough, actually. It's odd how that works. I'm no sharpshooter, but I passed my shooting courses 7 out.
Donc là, il y a des trucs à visiter. Ah, réduction. Ah, parfait. on peut pas aller plus loin. Bon, pendant qu'on est là, on peut regarder ça.
An old door, worn by elements, guards the depth.
It's military. A service depot of some sort. Probably something that is no longer there.
Et donc là, il faut plus de...
From here to the whirling, I can't see how. The church is in the way.
Tu peux courir plus vite, s'il te plaît? Là, allez voir.
Someone has left an unidentifiable article of clothing on this road. It's streaked with dried seagull shit and tangled with pieces of seaweed. A dangling arm.
Please tell me you're not taking that with you. A clue? You think our suspect is a seagull who's been defecating on unsuspecting jacket? Me neither.
You should still take.
Méga top. Oh, va plus vite, hein.
The smell. It's awful and familiar. It doesn't help. You can still smell it. Keep it in now. Don't overreact. Breathe. Don't you recognize it? That hideous pungency. Something cold wakes in the pit of your stomach. The lieutenant has already brought... There's some tear, an empty cigarette package, and a crumpled kebab wrapper. 2 empty bottles of Tallulah vodka, and a can of black... No, there's more in there. Livis strawberry liquor, plus some Pilsner bottles too. Better not.
A tragedy.
Whoever tossed it here was a heavy smoke. You see traces of mayonnaise and ketchup on it, as well as a tomato wedge. The wrapper reads, it's no older than a day or two. No, it's hard to concentrate in the smell. A man lies on the boardwalk, his limbs bent and neck turned at an unnatural angle. Right, half of his body has slipped between the cracked boardwalk, starting with the right leg. The fall has left. The smell is not as bad as a 2-week-old corpse.
Hold on. Lividity is faintly pronounced. Whoever this is, he's been dead for 2 days. No longer. We need to investigate.
Another dead body. This is calm now. Carefully. Just another day. He's wearing mud-caked boots, beige trousers, and an old brown leather jacket with a bright blue lining. You find some sunflower seeds and a rain-soaked library card folded into 2. His jacket feels
good. We should take a look at that library card after this is done.
The man has fallen through a crack in the boardwalk and hit his head against the metal bench. Coagulated blood covers his black hair. You have to be quite inebriated to fall that bad. Well over a liter of pure. His expression is dull, like the sea behind him. Drops of water shining on his moustache. Height, 170 to 175 centimeters. There's some dried blood on the metal bench, right where the corpse's head rests. The floorboards are rotten and slippery wet around the hole. A dried chunk of blood covers the hair at the back of his head.
I don't see any other major wounds, do you? Seems like the head wound was fatal. It's exactly the shape of the bench.
They screech under your feet ominously. It's hard to say whether. You see waves churning below. Something cracks. He could have easily disappeared into the sea through that hole. A 0.75 liter Tallulah. It's mid-market spirits.
Tear all around us.
Rubowski spearmint chewing gum. Green leaves on the cover. The man's mouth is half agape from the blackness of death. Stench.
He ate the whole pack, right? It's to cover the smell of alcohol before going home. I've seen it before. Almost the same scenario. Even the chewing gum. It's always the same.
The entire boardwalk creaks in the wind as you take a step back.
Death by misadventure. He slipped and fell through the boardwalk. A truly unfortunate accident. If it wouldn't have been for that bench, he'd be alive.
Ça m'étonne que ce soit lié au lynchage.
What about it? The deceased ate some kebab. It's probably from a nearby place, maybe in the box. They'll seal this place off after the news reaches the coalition officials. I doubt that they have enough resources. Not that sealing it off would keep anyone away. All it does is keep the city council's hands clean. It does seem to be a pretty straightforward misadventure, although there's still a question of identifying the body. Looks like one of the locals. He'd have to know this spot to come here. You don't just walk over here. But that's just a lazy assumption. What do you...
At least this man knew how to party. Imagine the same scene without the bottle. Now that would be just sad.
We do know that he was married. But you're right. Let's not run ahead. For now, all we know is that he's an unidentified middle-aged man found dead on the Martinez boat. From where I stand, I can see 2 options. We either take the case and follow the leads to identify the body on our own, or we report back to the station and leave this for our colleagues to handle. A field autopsy isn't necessary if the cause of death doesn't... I'd say we should just write down head trauma in the autopsy report and leave it at that. It would save us at least 2 hours of good call. The guys at processing can take care of the rest.
Ça.
All right. We should first examine the library card you found. Then we can call the station from my kinema. Let them know we are taking the case.
The library card is folded into 2 and still slightly wet to the touch. The front side reads, Central Jamrock Public Library card, issued to Billy Mejean, expires July 53.
Donc c'est en train d'être en Billy Binge. En juillet 53.
Whoever owns this card is an avid reader. You find a list of books written in blue pencil. Radio thriller. Stand a little less between me and the sun. Most of these titles seem to be in the sci-fi genre. If lost, please return the card to the library. Dial 00.
Good. We should give them a call from my kinema. See if we can learn anything about...
Good idea.
Ouais, ben on verra ça plus tard. Hein. Est-ce qu'il y a d'autres... Ça, on a examiné. Hein. Ah mais là on est déjà allé là. Non. Je vais voir derrière là.
And Mikhail noticed the windows, especially with how there are no windows on the south side. This was to deal with... You officers! Come to investigate the historic subtext of West Martinez? I'm Tran Heilostam. You must be Kim Kituragi, right? I was just telling my son about this building. Not a lot of...
Nice to meet you.
Yes, hypertext. Young Carp and the collection of cultural hyperlinks.
He's just making up fancy words. This...
Oh yes, so Mikhail. They had to deal with monitor glare, especially in the summer. They still had vector monitors back then. That was 49 years ago. So they didn't have No, I can't say that we've met before, but I've heard of Kim, of course. Mikhail, say hi to the officers. Mikhail's a little tired today. We spent all night trying to run Orbis on his radio computer. Have you heard of it? It's a programming language used in Grad. Quite tricky, but he wanted to play this Grad-made adventure program.
The man speaks in the artificial cadence of a professor. Or someone who's been on...
But I assume you're not here for giant worms when there are so many real things to see. Just as I was telling Mikhail before, this is where the coalition landed in 08.
This man is your half-brother. You feel it. But why?
Cet homme est ton demi-frère.
I do have some money, yes, but that's not what's really important here.
He's not gonna give you money. What are you doing? Clearly you were just No, I mean, come on. You need the money. If it's not a thing, he can give you some.
Of course, Detective. I wouldn't have assumed anything else. Matter of fact, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but the Vespertine Department of Justice has published a rather interesting paper on the criminal profile. If not, then you definitely should. If not for tips and tricks, then just for theoretical curiosity. Anyway.
Forget it. They don't sell those kind of books at crime, romance, and biographies of...
Aha! But it's not just any empty old building. What not a lot of people know is, this used to be the R&D department of Felt Electrical. And Felt, which now sells ink cartridges mostly, was once a top dog.
Hold on. What's R&D?
Et recherche et développement, regardez les deux.
That's not surprising. Only a vestigial ink cartridge and ferrotape. They started out as a midway electronics outfit in Königstein 2 centuries ago. After an aggressive... Still, Tricentennial was beating them in business machines. But felt it was here in Martinez, possibly in this very building, that they developed prototypes for an elegant folding mechanism of rollers and ferrotape ribbons, portable enough to be a take-it-home solution. Revolutionizing business machines, which is a feat of engineering, even today's giants, RÈGLES, ICN, and... Indeed. What?
The revolution!
Unfortunately, their moonshot project never made it to the market. Feld's move to Revachol backfired. The revolutionary government liquefied their assets and expropriated those very advanced prototypes. All of this was built by Feld, even the boardwalk. Wild Pines built Martinez proper as a resort for their middle management. Feld built this side of town for R&D. Yes, they even built a pleasure wheel, but that got destroyed in the war.
A pleasure wheel?
Yes, to lure in their star engineers. This part of Martinez was nothing but reeds before Feld arrived. They had to make the prospect of living here... Oh, I'm afraid it didn't end well for the boys. But this story is a bit too dark for little Mikhail here. Now...
Wait, is he saying that we should just bypass the excesses of the revolution?
Yeah.
Tape computers. They used them for military communications, but also to write and send out press releases, the most notorious example being le décret de mars.
Attends, mais...
What's the Mars Decree? I mean the radio transmission sent out to news agencies and world governments by the newly created commune of Revachol on the 7th of... It's a beautiful piece of text, actually. A singer-songwriter I know, Charette, called it a love poem. I tried to get Mikhail to memorize it. Tried to. Someone was...
The kid takes a peek at the green and silver worm on the cover of the book. Already forget...
Actually, no one knows. No one even knows what a computer made entirely of tape would look like. But word has it, they were very elegant. Exquisite. 10 years ago, I did a little... freelancing, I guess you could say. I was a special consultant for an exhibition at the Wompty Dumpty Dum Center in Vredefort, Oranje. It raised...
Wait, did he just say Wompty Dumpty Dum Center? He did it. He said Wompty Dumpty Dum Center, like it's the most natural thing. What the hell is a Wompty Dumpty Dum Center? And
the Wompty Dumpty Dum Center for Contemporary Arts. The exhibition itself drew on Lagerman's notion of memory, and so there were some parallels. That's why the head curator, Paul Ockerman, chose to... In fact, I'm not. The Wompty Dumpty Dum Center is a place you can visit if you're ever in Vredefort and are ever in the market for an exhibition space / contemporary art research center. But perhaps I should return to the tape computer.
made of black film and folding tape structures.
Very, very cool. Though I understand the socio-economic causes of the revolution, it pains me to imagine the revolutionary setting fire to this precious device. Who knows? Maybe it was an accident, or maybe they didn't want the technology to end up in the wrong hands. Either way, they're all gone now. All 3 versions of the prototype. But of course, what else? Sure, what's on your mind?
Non.
But of course, no thanks to you for having...
Pick your brain. If anything, this was...
Là, on peut toujours pas. Là, je vois pas ce que ça pourrait m'apporter. Donc il y a un machin fameux.
As you approach, the man turns and greets you with a polite.
Ah, super. It's the officer. I was not What brings you down to the scenic Martinez coast? Well, that's très simple. I was visiting the fishing village just north of here. They have applied, and then, well, I had some extra time on my hands, so I decided to stroll down here. Yes. There's nothing like a stroll along the coast to lift one's spirits. Ah bon? I'm all ears, officer. My friend, if it's la responsabilité you're after, I have good news for you. The Comité de Responsabilité de Révachol, it acts as a sort of clearinghouse for coalition activities. To put it simply, they are the ultimate arbiters of la responsabilité in this part of the world.
Yes, this is just the sort of reasonable authority you're looking.
I would offer to connect you with the committee myself, but alas, I am not actually in Martinez.
What? Where is he then? He's speaking figuratively. He means he's not in Martinez in his official capacity.
Précisément. Officially, I am still in La Delta, preparing for an upcoming conference on fuel oil derivatives. That's why it would be extremely irregular, or potentially even inappropriate for me to intercede with the committee concerning a district I'm not officially in. Well, under ordinary circumstances,
In other words, the committee only knows what it wants to know.
But if you have information of a vital interest, they might be willing to entertain an exception. In which case, I would advise you to contact them via Coalition Warship Archer. Officer, you mean to say that you haven't noticed the giant coalition aerostatic peacefully patrol?
You follow the man's gaze out toward the west. There, hanging some distance above the horizon, it looks to your eye like some kind of long metallic fish suspended beneath. Not just any fish. It moves like some. Don't let the paint job fool you. It's a goddamn killing machine, and there's nothing you can do to stop it.
Isn't it? A triumph of both technical ingenuity and international cooperation. I, for one, feel much safer knowing it's up there watching all of us. This is quite the problem. Very tricky. Of course, the Archer has orders to fire on but in that case, you would require a radio transmitter capable of broadcasting on coalition frequencies. And that kind of technology naturally isn't typically elevated. I suppose there might be some way to circuit bend your way onto those frequencies, but you'd have to be one of those techno-tinkerers to do it. Unfortunately not, no. I don't have the pleasure. I am merely a representative of the coalition government.
Ah, good. Techno-tinkerers. Just what this side task was missing.
Let me just say that I have complete confidence in the RCM. I'm sure you'll figure something out. And then, well, I had some extra time on my hands, so I decided to... Yes. Ah bon? I'm all ears, officer. And then, well, I had some extra time on... Ah bon? I'm all ears. Always my pleasure.
A scattering of bullet holes is spread across the cracked wall, reaching from one corner to the other. A row of ghostly shades stand facing the wall. There are many of them, a dozen at least, their heads lowered and eyes blindfolded. 10 meters away, other shades are lined up in an orderly manner. Automatic snowflakes fall on the wooden planks and the surrounding sand dunes. A long time has passed. The abundance of bullet holes leads to two options. Either an inordinate amount of executions were performed here, or they did not use a conscience round, where only one soldier has the loaded rifle. A host of men, probably in everyday clothes, ragged from the conflict and covered in dust. They stand, facing the wall. It's ordinary people, familiar, collateral damage on the path toward normalcy and 7 men in combat uniforms and dark coats, holding automatic rifles, men of duty. Dark, in all truth, Violence offers no answer. The commandant, the one who gives the order. Machine.
I don't know. I don't know who died here, lined up beside that horrible wall. It could have been. Perhaps the ones executed here were the loyalist conservative.
Remember what Trent Heidelstein said about that?
Another likely scenario.
Or maybe...
Yeah, it's very unlikely the coalition forces were the ones who died here. To be honest, if a coalition member was anyone in this situation, it was a commandant.
A cold sea wind.
Alors attends. Tu peux courir? Merci. Pipou. Oh, oh. En logique. Plus de logique. J'ai l'impression qu'on a fait un peu le tour là, il me semble. Non, on peut pas aller par là. Non, par là on peut pas.
Hello, I'm Gary. How do you do, officer?
Le crypto-facho.
Yellow man. I mean, officer.
The lieutenant raises his eyebrows slightly. Yellow man. Interesting. This is something to ask him about, after a little probing first.
I'm just waiting for my friend Morel to finish up with his insect traps so we can return to civilization. I like nature, just not this bloody coast. It's mostly...
Degenerates. This man respects authority too much. To see the truth inscribed upon thine own visage. Pretend thou art a paragon of virtue.
Oh, I didn't mean it in any scientific way.
Serious question time. This man is no innocent. No one is.
My mug? Why would you think that? Really? I hear it all the time. All in jest, of course. No offense meant to anyone. Okay, I admit it. I threw the mug away in the trash container behind the hostel. You're not going to find me, are you? Okay, I deserve that. And I won't do it. I don't know what got into me. Stuffing my garbage in another man's property, I've been having...
What did you do, Gary?
Ah, bah le fameux Gary.
Nothing! Nothing. Just...
Here we go. Start pumping that sweet info.
Comment on fait pour avoir la belle ordure?
I know a guy who works with the trash collection services. CS Municipal. He gave me a master key for the so I can use the Whirling's trash compactor to store my own stuff. Garbage disposal is expensive as hell. The damn I'm sorry, okay? I thought I could cut costs.
Disgraced. No need for the histrionic, sir. It was, after all, just a trash container.
He studies his reaction. Gary doesn't answer.
Officer, please. Let me explain. I was only cleaning up. I live right across the yard from where he was hanged, and I saw him stripped naked. All the clothes lying around in the yard, smelling. People are animals, you know? Then I came out to clean up the rags, because no one else would. I put them into the Whirling's trash, along with a broken mug. Okay. I was coming to throw the mug away.
Right. It was just civic duty.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. Civic armor? No. I mean, yes. Of course.
An infant could see he's not telling the truth, but he's too scared to admit more wrongdoing.
I hope I could help your investigation, in my small way. I told you everything I know, sir. I'm truly sorry for...
Uncomfortable shifting around doesn't make him the killer, though. It's something else.
Not many Sealites here, or anywhere, other than Sale. I met...
Do you remember how, when we met Measurehead and I said the next racist will be a really good one? Well, this is that racist.
Hey, man, all I meant was there are not many Sealites around here. I'm just stating a fact. Oh, yes, of course he is. I was just speaking about his connections. Let's change the subject.
Sounds like some conspiracy topic. You might be able to discuss it with him when the lieutenant isn't here. If your gut feeling tells you it'd be interesting.
No. I help Morell with research sometimes, and I've learned some things along the way.
What does he do then? This feels like a good opportunity to dominate him.
Oh, this and that. Sometimes.
See? He's being evasive. Shake him up.
I just didn't want to bore you with unnecessary... I work as a special courier. You know, urgent deliveries, overnight deliveries. Oh, I don't know the contents, officer. Part of my job is discretion. Oh, this and that. Officer, I would never. I just did... I work as a special courier. You know, yes, officer?
Non, juste du 17%. Pas assez de sang-froid en fait. Alors attends. Et là j'ai 1%. J'ai un point. Ah, qu'est-ce qui me manquait surtout? Un peu de volonté. Hein. De la volonté. Encyclopédie. Un filet mécanique pour là-haut, là, pour ouvrir le bunker. En froid. C'est vrai que volonté, là, il n'y a pas beaucoup. Ah bah tiens, j'ai augmenté ça, là. Attends.
Always a pleasure to... I mean, officers.
Ah non, c'est sans froid. Ah non. Ok.
Here we go. Nice.
There's a cylinder on the ground in which...
Who's there? Oh, to what do I owe the pleasure?
That's sarcasm. He takes no pleasure from your appearance.
Of course. Thank you for passing along the message. That damn water lock is broken, and we can't go all the way around the A81. You broke the water lock with a motor carriage? But there was a billboard in the canal. Not a vehicle. It said Samaran Butter.
Did he say we can go back now?
Yes, Gary. We can go soon. If you see Lena,
Sir, your wife is waiting.
I just have to do one more round. See if the phasmid has taken the bait. Then we're going. Well, they may not look impressive, but Lena designed them quite cleverly. So I'm sure they'll do the trick. Yes. Simple. Attracted by the locusts, the phasmid crawls down the At least, that's the intention. The locusts. Nearly all know...
Inside the traps, a number of locusts crawl and tumble over one another. A meat-eating stick insect? Does it pretend to be the reeds as part of its ambush behavior? This seems unlikely.
Thank you for your opinion. We have also included plant material in the traps. They'll work, I assure you. The predatory hypothesis, using locusts as bait, accounts for the failure of Yes. What? No. No. Well, he's been a little unenthusiastic about the trip. More so than usual. That's understandable. He just wants to get home and warm up.
Peut-être que ça peut débloquer des trucs.
I've just always liked animals and puzzles. It's not child's play. Just because I have to traipse through the mud every so often. Real. I know you think one is a respectable profession, while the other is superstition. Everyone does. Indeed. My methods do not differ from other science. No, as I said, I have yet...
Interesting. Something for later, this close call.
Everything from forgotten regional law to newspaper accounts, like the one that brought us here.
He's interested in things that people believe that scientists don't.
Most establishment scientists only care about reputation and remuneration, not real research, and certainly not the truth. They're a cowardly lot, and both the field, yes? And I'm eager to return to her, I assure you. My wife understands that just as well as anyone.
Come on, Morale. We've been soaking out here.
And leave the traps? Absolutely not.
Come on, she wants us back. I'm soaked up to my nuts over here. We'll both catch reed crabs if we don't dry out soon.
Of course it's important to her. She's seen it. A verified site.
She's seen it?
Yes. That's how we first came to know one. Suffice to say, it's long been our dream to find proof of the Insulindian phasmid together. No, no, no. The traps need to be monitored on a regular...
He's dead set on this.
I didn't expect you to take such an interest in our work here, officer. Yes, indeed. Both require great... There are 4 in total. One is to the south, on this little peninsula, by the boathouses there. It's very near. Another we set in Land's End, to the northeast, It's behind a small sand dune there. On your way to the old radio tower, after the church. The third is set near the canal, where you crossed, by a concrete slab. A big thicket of... You should check at least one...
That seems like a lot. Do we really have time for this extracurricular venture? Even relative to examining a week-old corpse, I'm not sure mucking...
If you think it's important, you have been right before.
Bring it to me at once. Just make sure the trap is...
He's not comfortable with the possibility that you'll claim the find, but he's lying about this even to himself.
That's highly unlikely, officer. But in the event you do, it's made of musk and research chemicals. The wise choice.
I hope you're not buying this. He dispenses it without letting you touch the canister, so it...
It is precious. A single dose cost me 50 real to develop. Not the...
Right. Which means you two can pack up and go back to...
Finally, someone's talking sense.
Thank you for your help. Gary and I will start breaking down camp. If you have any more questions, now's it.
If it's more cryptid-related business you want to discuss, but what if the information is vital?
Donc il a pas dit au sud.
There's a trap in the reeds at your... Behind you, the ruins of a residential building rise over the reeds. Shield locusts are crawling around in the trap, confused but uneaten.
Big surprise. Anyway, 1 down, 3 to go. I meant no offense, just...
Donc là c'est bon.
This is the trap Morel just... This trap is also full of panicked locusts.
Another empty trap. Always up for a good jog.
Ah non, là, on peut pas y aller. C'est juste maintenant que je découvre qu'en laissant le doigt sur le bouton gauche, il court tout seul. Bravo. Et puis il y a là aussi à faire. Attends. Il a dit la tour radio.
This trap's not too hot. Nothing but locusts in this trap as well.
Empty as all of them. No, I'm fine. I didn't mean to complain, it's just...
Is there something here that would indicate a sniper used this place as a nest for taking the shot? Just some urban detritus.
I don't see it, Lieutenant W. Freitor. I don't see a person take a shot here and hit something there. To warm his hands before pulling the trigger? Perhaps. But anyone could have made this. The coast. Truthfully, this seems like a very poor choice to take a 1.2 kilometer rifle shot from. Visibility is awful. There's water vapor everywhere. Those? A smoking assailant who favors Tumutiri to Astra or Joan? It's not possible to climb that ladder. And even if it were, why?
There. 1.2 kilometers over the cold water of a glowing light on the 3rd floor of the Whirling in Rags. With binoculars, you would see a young woman smoking, drinking, being happy and
On va rentrer dans l'église, dans l'église, machin, une à côté.
heavy wooden doors, more than twice your height, stand shut in front of you. The carving on the door is block-like and angular, like the church itself. Two large beams. The surface is smooth from the wind, but moist to the touch. Nothing happens, only the sound of...
I don't think that's going to work.
This cheap-looking padlock is sturdily built. It shackles together a hasp and a staple screwed into the... You see a yellow circle with two X's and a big curve below them that looks like a mouth. You're pretty sure there is something blindingly modern about this symbol. Its modernness puts to shame everything you see. He takes off his glasses and uses a blue handkerchief to...
No. Looks like a dead man smiling. Suggests junior delinquency. For Révachol aussi, the moral intern defined junior delinquents. These acts aren't called crimes. I haven't seen that sticker before. And I'm not a youth. That level of conceptual thinking is not part of my skill set.
There's nothing like the sound of a sticker unpeeling. Now it's stuck to your thumb. Looks like today was a gold star day. The padlock passes through a staple that's been hastily attached to the wood. Closer inspection reveals that one of the screws is not. Should you want to get through, it might be easier to just pry the whole...
Maybe we should circle the building first and look for another way. The building has seen enough mistreatment. Yes, the pulsing base. A sure sign of junior delinquency. Somewhere.
There's something on the sea ice there. A shaggy-looking girl in her late teens or early 20s, Neil.
Oh, hello there.
It's cold out here, but she's not wearing a hat. Everyone knows drugs make you invulnerable to cold.
Huh? So should you.
You don't have to do anything.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Yeah, well... Look, man, fuck...
Your pulse rises. What did she just say? That's not how a civilian is supposed to address an officer of...
I'm sorry I said fuck the hat. I was concentrating on something else. My whole family swears and it rubbed off on me. A cell. Why? Okay, it's Burger.
A very common name. You have little reason to doubt that's her real name. But she's not all that surprised by this cop show question.
This is a portable recording device. It's for field recording. Low quality, but still. Actually, just one wire. I picked on it till the braiding came loose. The wire leads to a contact microphone. Okay. Recording, I guess. I think I'm recording cracks in the ice, but there's no way to tell. Not without headphones. I think I just recorded your footsteps too. Not sure how that will sound. The musicians in the Palaceum used them for making music. They looped the stuff, cutting the tapes together. Anyway, I thought I'd make some too. It's supposed to be... I don't really know what I'm doing. They use synthesizers.
Take this, you're called.
No, man, fuck that, I'm cool. I'm sorry I said that.
It's okay.
That? The boys think it could be a place, like the Palaceum or something. Stupid. It's really not gonna be a Palaceum, that's for sure.
And who are these boys?
Yeah, Andre and the guys, they're inside, in the tent.
And why is that?
They got too much stuff crammed in there, no room. Music stuff mostly. Like this tape recorder. That stuff is more expensive than I am. More expensive than any of us, really. Doesn't matter, I can take the cold.
Attends, je vais pas lui donner mon chapeau, il y a deux trucs de rhétorique.
Yeah, maybe you were right about the hat. Go ahead. Well, it's just questioning, right? You're just questioning me. It's what cops do. Once or twice, yeah. I'm sorry I haven't had the Revershaw experience they get. Rich people. Rich people are east of the river. Aren't they? I thought they were as vachelaire as any of us, just way richer. Maybe you're right. Most of them do speak 3 languages, the usual. I had a shitty run as a teenager. You know, drinking, getting into fights. The ugly stuff that happens when you move out your parents' place at 13.
Interesting term. Time to glean some knowledge.
Is this a rhetorical question? My dad was a drunk. Plus, I guess, I just wanted to drink too, you know. Get my party on. Go ahead. It's supposed to become, like, a club for anodic dance music, like that new style of synthesizer stuff they play at the... Except that, yeah. You know, anodic, cathodic, music that's made with electronic instruments. What do you need to know? I know. It's not my idea. Andre and the boys found them. Hey, you two are cops. Okay, well... maybe you could talk to Andre and the guys. Because there are some strange things going on in that church. If you're police, you should look into it, right? They're inside that thing there. Would be cool if you did. Was there... No. Not really, no.
She's trying to get out of a direct lie with semantic tricks. She personally didn't put the padlock on the door.
It's Noid's. To keep more weirdos from getting in. Fucking Martinez. I'm sorry. It's got the worst weirdos. If you get... Go ahead. Okay. Bye.
Attends. Sang-froid, film mécanique. Pas évident de trouver la bonne truc, parce que perception, évidemment, me manquait.
The tent is just tarpaulin fabric covering a pile of stuff. The flap is open. Inside, 3 young men, all in forward-looking apparel, reminiscent of the sticker on the padlock, are listening to some new form of music. It's like nothing you've ever heard.
Come on! Get in and close the flap behind you. The warm stuff's getting out.
It's safe to assume this is their leader, or at least he thinks he is.
Sorry, we barely have room for one.
You go ahead. I'm too old for this.
I'm actually not, he thinks. I just dislike delinquents.
I'm sure you will feel right at home. I'll keep watch.
Allons voir ce qui se passe. Ça va les gars?
You see a youngish man bleaching the tips of his hair with a toothbrush.
Hello, I'm Andre.
His grip is strong, sweaty and warm.
This is my posse. Noid.
The young man with earrings looks at you suspicious.
An egghead. Egg! Together with a Settle Burger, who's out there right now, doing some seriously... We have many in the pipeline, officer.
That means they haven't set up a single...
You see, we've been all over Jamrock North, prospecting for real estate to establish a new venue in.
Also for talent!
Yeah, thank you, Egghead. And while there is no shortage of raw, unfettered talent spinning tapes in Jamrock, we've...
Place is a shithole!
I apologise for my friend Noid's potty mouth. I realise this is not how you speak to a police officer. He has authority issues. Ah, so you've met her? Good, good. Yeah, it's a matter of occupied ecclesiastical property. I bet you've noticed the derelict hive of Markomania. I'm talking about the church. And I'm not exaggerating. Even a place of spiritual refuge can become a magnet for all sorts of dope heads.
Burnouts!
Well, I'm sad to say, that's exactly what happened. Sad because we were just about to strike that! The verb! And sadder yet, because the dopeheads and burnouts holed up in there are the worst kind.
He leans back a little, watching you with a steady, serious gaze. Good. This calls for an opinion. You're an expert in those.
Yes, yes. And the worst part is, they're also spooky. I was hoping you would be the judge of that, officer. All I can say is, their spookiness is the kind that keeps us from restoring this church into a community centre.
Also, they don't eat or clean the building.
People just want to spin tapes without them spooking it up. Thank you, Egghead. So you're gonna look into it, right? It should be a police matter. All right, man.
Andre's obviously very happy you took him seriously. The whole tent is. The boys exchanged giddy looks.
I did ask Noid to install a measure against more drifters wandering in. It's a temporary fix, just something to...
I had to do it in an hurry. Not my best work.
Of course. Noid, give the...
All right.
You sense the trajectory of the little piece of metal and plastic. The object makes a small ringing sound as it approaches. Ka-ching! The key hits your palm. The speed freaks nod to you approvingly. The speed freak nods to you. A respectful nod. You proved something here.
Not long. Like a week, maybe? I'm super sure they're alive. I mean, come on. I'm at least 90%, maybe 85% sure they're still alive. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry too. I guess it wasn't very...
Me too. I shouldn't have that.
Sure, man. Tell us what you want to know. Let's do it. Oh yeah, That's a meteor and...
If you don't know what the founding party is, there might be a way to mask it with minor demagoguery.
You know, of Meteo. Concerning Meteo. Come to think of it, I've never really looked them up, you know. I can't give you a precise... Yes? Truth is, I don't really know. None of us... Well, there's also the... When I first scouted the place...
Bon, on va zapper un peu là.
Andre. Oh, and it... No!
Ça commence à être long en fait.
Not exactly. We've just seen someone who we think is a woman go in and out of the church. You should talk to Noid about that. I just got a distinct burnout and dopehead sign from them. Probably jacked up to some snuff station.
With a small surge of PEA, alertness fills you.
Good idea. Sure. What? Yes. What? Yeah. Good to have. Bitch. Oh. It's the one they sell at the fuel station.
It's like he's lying to you, my liege. But he's slippery enough that there's nothing. He nods enthusiastically. No doubt, a little relief.
As always, we'll...
Wow, so someone's been a little boring. A pane of Eternite has been barely holding it up. It could fall over any minute. It's strong.
It looks like a makeshift bridge. Could be convenient.
The pane falls into the icy snow with a soft thunk. The shaggy-haired girl.
So you talked to my associates, right? Are you going to help us? Great. Let us know if there's any progress, will ya? My associates? I haven't got much to say about them. Sorry. I just don't tell...
To the cops.
Me? I'm a silver bird. Don't know what makes you think it'll be any different later, but...
Rien d'autre là?
You see that seagull up there? Remind you of anybody? You and the seagull. Think about the seagull's story. It's one of endurance and adaptation. Then their paradise became Shit City. And what? No time for that sentimental bullshit. They're hustlers, getting shit done. Own it. Steal hot dogs. Shit in the sand. Whatever it takes to keep going.
Allô?
Heavy wooden doors. The lock turns easily.
Let's go.
A great whoosh of air rushed in the heart of the sea.
Alors, on voit ce qu'il y a dans cette église.
A machine stands in the corner. watched over by the figures on the stained glass.
A radio computer. And it's turned on.
These machines sometimes harbor traps, he thinks. Alarms.
We should leave. I doubt this place bears any connection to the case. A radio computer. We have one down at the station. No, I don't know how to operate it or what it's used for.
A quaint little box of radio waves. You see fluorescent play and print buttons on the keyboard. A hatch connected to the lieutenant says nothing. You see the machines glowing. Behind the hatch sits a cube-like crisscross of filaments, smoldering in the dark like fireflies.
Attends, activité. Un coup. Pratique. Leur transcender. Plein de conneries.
The silence in this part of the church, it's almost palpable. All the shift in matter and shuffle. Maybe if you were to stand in just the right spot, even your footsteps would be completely silent. And then it's gone. Almost all. It seems the sound here is detached from its source somehow. You can hardly hear your own breathing. You produce a few muffled thumps, after which the silence feels even more. Your voice is barely audible. Not a howl. It's unnerving. The lieutenant points to his ears and shakes.
Can you hear anything? The church just has strange acoustics, some engineering trick.
Maybe the church was designed this way to prevent boisterous activity, singing and dancing on its premises. The lieutenant doesn't reply, but you can sense the orderly rows of ceiling panels become barely visible, then disappear completely in the darkness of the tower overhead.
Ah oui. Des surprises de...
Just darkness without end. It makes your head spin. There's nothing. You're dizzy and disoriented as you see dark and...
Officer, what are you looking at?
Filled with vague shapes of wood. You see something hanging from the rafters, looking straight at you with dark eyes. Maybe it's possible to talk to... Is that a man? Looks more like part of the carpentry of the... The man leaned forward a little, fixing you.
Habitual alcohol use has made you into a scared little pussy, Holmes. But don't worry, everything's gonna be alright. Here you can receive the mother's love. And when you're ready, she will take your hand and lift you out of the despair at the bottom of that bottle.
This man is obviously a habitual narcotics user. Do we really need to question him?
I'm put off by this religious stuff, he thinks. And hey, and what was that about the bottle again? You haven't even drank that much lately. Lay off it already. Shit.
Está crudo, way. I see deep inside you. Your body and your spirit are suffering greatly from overindulgence. And you don't even, not all of it. I was like you once. You don't know.
You know, actually, since we're here, you may want to pay attention.
Look at these crazies. What is this shit?
Don't trust me. Trust the mother. I'm only the messenger, Holmes. This is the Church of the Mother of Silence. You are welcome.
You have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Is he just trying to throw you off your game?
Up there, Holmes. I am. At least in part, Holmes.
What does he mean, in part?
A boyadero? No, Holmes. I don't go in for that kind of thing. It's all about surrendering to the mother now. Haven't you ever met a Mex before? Cabrón. Surprising number of us around rabbit shop. Not sure I'm contributing to the economy none, Holmes. Glad you're feeling more comfortable. First-timers are always nervous.
The sinewy figure lingers on the wooden beams, blending in.
Other spooker? Oh,
the Aita is Grandma?
No. I just call her viejita because of her clothes. She's actually quite young. Or maybe not that young. That's what I said, Holmes. Don't really follow her comings and goings. Just see her typing on her computer now and then. We got different interests. I'm afraid not, Ese. You just have to wait until she comes back, or
search through her radio computer.
The ones in the tent outside, right? I see them. Think they scared of me. Nah, man. They look pretty funny. And
though he used to, a long time ago.
Why not? They wouldn't bother me none. I'm usually wait. Might even be nice to have some company.
Peut-être ça, mieux dormir. Bouge-toi les fesses, inspecteur, enfin...
In white, silver, and apricot faience, the young mother of human. This is her innocence, Dolores Day. Cradled in her arms are a pair of glowing lungs, clearly visible from underneath her flowing dress. Your knees touch the floor. The floorboards are hard and cold. There, the world is silent, but for the creaks and cracks of the mess. The woman looks down at you kneeling. She towers among her followers. Architect, she acknowledges the passing of someone who is still alive. As that terrible word passes through your mind, the lieutenant draws an X-shaped. Your fingertips touch your chest 4 times. Then you rise from your knees into the apricot-colored light of the window. Above you, the woman still. A jigsaw of broken shards falls into place in front of you. A ghostly reconstruction of the stained glass window. Before it was shattered, there was an older woman beneath the younger one. And the escutcheon on her throne says, Irene the Navigator, She is depicted as an older woman wearing thick-rimmed
La
eyeglasses,
fameuse Irène.
holding a golden rights apfel in one hand and a scepter in the other. This is the queen her innocence day advised. Above, she herself is whole. Small figures of wise men, common men, worshippers walk up the steps. Below both women, in luminous black letters, Après la vie, mort. And then along the left side, Après le monde, unknown.
Death, life again. After the whirl, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This exaltation is common in Dolorian sacralism. In the early years, it was even incorporated as the RCM slogan. It was deemed subservient to use a strongly moral intern-related motto. We already suspected of bootlicking. The sentence was also justice, union, prudence, and force. So do I.
The mother of humanism towers above you, a wax painting on a cracked pane of glass. Despite the damage you've done to yourself, the title appears lodged in your hippocampus. This is Her Innocence Dolores Day, the innocence of humanism. No amount of Commodore Red can wipe her sad smile from your brain thing. It has survived the deluge and haunts you still, and will haunt you forever, as it haunts all. The highest category of historic individual, an embodiment of more. An innocence is elected to office by the founding party. An innocence is infallible. The decisions
blabla,
made by one are not decisions. No, we are alone. 300 years ago, in the wake of the discovery of this Isola, the Insulindian, by exploring many things, you know she was a woman of the court. Terribly, women of the court were expected to play both contract bridge and chess. She made the most of her position. She was an almost, it was on her advice. She was crowned 2 years after. Wow, indeed. When her innocent bystand, that is why the lungs are the symbol of love for the cultures of the Real Belt. Terrifying is a term too emotionally charged for your semantics. Although she's often she was the most socially the Mesk state tried to detach it, suggesting those who fight against it are not part of human. She adored chess, yes, but little is known of her Marchese husband. This subtle terror is part.
Lieutenant Yefreitor, you've stood there for over 5 minutes. What are you thinking of, if I may ask? She's been dead for 300 years. None of this is, in fact. This church, the old woman in the village, it's a minor landmark, not easy to find. Most maps misplace it. Okidodo.
Donc là, il y a ça après.
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated. A bar of fabric right above the keyboard starts producing a soft. Oh no, it was already glowing and now it's also making a sound. The static gets louder, slowly filling up the abandoned hall until a voice.
Good afternoon, Fortress accident on Saint-Brune. This is the East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the personal log? The company on whose name the terminal you're currently using has been. One moment. Fortress Accident SCS produces revolutionary interactive call-in radio games.
That's not bad.
I wouldn't know. I'm only here for passwords. Any other questions? Yes, I am alive. I am 74 years old and my name...
She repeats passwords. Programming people are paranoid.
I work as a repeater at the East Insulindian repeater station. It's my job. As for me, well, I am sitting in my cubicle, surrounded by now. Please tell me why you're calling, votre accident. The filament you have inserted into the core. I don't know. That's what I'm asking. Is this good? Please repeat the password.
Let's look around. There's no use trying to guess the answer. Maybe he knows something.
Received. I will register this login attempt.
That sounds bad. A login.
Votre accident. Is there anything else Goodbye, votre.
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated, revealing nothing happens.
Un mot de passe? Y a pas de mot de passe dans le coin. Parce que lui, il aurait...
Oh, hey, Way.
Coffee in the back. Something familiar about.
Too many times, essay. You need it for something.
The lieutenant raises his eyebrow.
Don't sweat it, vato. The password is afterlife. What you think of that? Makes me almost pity la niñita pequeña when I hear it. Look, man, I'm at liberty to talk about the sacred blaze of the mother's glorious heart, but not about the coffee. I think we're done here, essay.
That was interesting. However,
Hey, her Innocence Dolores Day liked little figurines, right? Liked holding little men between her fingers, remember? You have the headless Falcon Rider figurine. You should give it to her. Win her back. So very, very, very nifty. Nifty and mysterious. This... The mother of humanism stands above. Why? That does seem to be a problem. Maybe you meant something else? I don't know. What are we thinking of? Part of your the mother of humanism towers above you. A wax painting. The machine's keyboard.
J'ai oublié de faire un...
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated, revealing fluorescent play, and the speaker comes to life.
Good afternoon. Votre accident on Saint-Brun. Good. Please repeat the password. Good. I have unlocked the filament. After ending the call, please press print to access the filament. Votre accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Goodbye, votre accident.
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated. The printer prints out a long text document with dated paragraphs. It looks a bit like someone's journal. The first entry, made on the 4th of February, arrived at the church. The door was boarded up, so I used the crowbar to get inside. Looks, the lieutenant leans closer, scouring the printout over your shoulder.
4th of February. That's over a month ago. Whoever set up those machines has been here for quite a while. Our case? No, I don't think so. It must be some local eccentric.
6th of February, 51. Had a little chat with the local fishermen. Said I shouldn't go near that place, that the church was spooky. See? Even one of the spookers themselves says it's... What was that about narcotics? This could prove to be, see, ridden with narcotics. Just like Andre.
I doubt that we can find any. It's just idle fishermen's gossip to scare. Nothing spooky about this place either. It's just abandoned and cold. And in an
7th of February, 51. Finally got the electricity in. Next on the agenda, a new antenna. I'm thinking,
why would anyone need any of this equipment here?
8th of February, 51. Bought the antenna, had some problems setting it up. Called Simo for help. Heard the others are back to make artists, yet again. Harassing citizens, but at least the artists have their act together. They're qualified labor. They can get... I just have to find out what caused that data loss and be done with it. Still don't understand how it managed to wipe out the backup. When the backup...
Seems like something to do with radio computers. Unfortunately, I don't know something about the backup data getting destroyed, and how everyone thought it was the author's fault. Let's just keep reading. Her friends? Colleagues? She must be quite educated.
12th of February, 51. Brought some food from the grocery store. Apparently, there's a strike going on.
The strike. We are nearing the date of the murder. Keep reading. I'm interested now.
25th of February, 51. I've been sending data up to Lintel for a while now, trying to recreate the data loss, but nothing. Didn't even feel like logging in, the disappointment. But I did discover a curious audio-spatial anomaly at the back of the church. I've never...
What is she talking about?
28th of February, 51. Yes, the first recordings confirm that the swallow is real, and I'm not just losing my mind. It's a pillar of silence, with a diameter...
The pillar of silence. She is talking about the silence. Is she suggesting it's more than just an architectural quirk?
The lieutenant doesn't answer. He follows your gate. March 51. Some kind of young disco men have appeared next to the church. I've been trying to record the silence to find the epicenter, but now, fortunately, the song is so monotonous, I was able to devise an algorithm to factor it out. The other day, that disco man must be a cell.
The girl on the ice?
March 51. A new 2-meter aux cable. Noodle, your reading is interrupted by the sound of the church door opening. A strange woman makes straight for the radio computer.
Breaking into my radio computer, I see.
I do apologize for the intrusion, madame. We are with the RCM, you see.
Well, you won't find any music venue organizers here. It's just me and my computer, and it has been this way for weeks. Now please give me some room. I need 2 seconds to see that you haven't...
We should talk to her after she has rebooted the machine.
Ah bah tiens. Je pense qu'on va en laisser ça pour la prochaine fois. Ah bah sur ce, je remercie les personnes qui seraient passées en replay. Et je vous donne rendez-vous à un prochain live pour la suite. Tous ces mystères. Chaîne.
Many miles we walk, the many things we learn, the building of a shrine, only just to burn. That's the way it is. That's the way